We are stoked.
I'm a terrible sore loser. I don't follow the rules.
All the bearded guys seem to lie.
Yeah. There are rumors galore.
I am so up and down in my emotions right now.
Retain salad.
Okay. Where there is smoke, there is always fire, etc., etc., etc.
You don't do it.
Been there, done that.
And we'll get into it later.
They know crap about hockey.
Come on. Well, I laugh it off.
I have no issue.
Here's the thing, though. I have nothing to do.
I'm okay with this deal.
There was no other option.
So now you have nothing.
We already blew it.
Win now, win now.
It paid off.
I will eat my pants.
Hey guys, it's two guys in hockey talk and Pawel the cat, Zygmunt, and I've got my beautiful beard-like co-host.
It's revingev at you, Evan Renaerts. Good to be with you. I gotta say, man, you that Burns look, you know. I mean, you look exactly like Burns over in San Jose. It just like you just tucked it in a little bit. I just feel like I just want to come in. I want to grab it and rip it.
Just spread it out, see how big it gets. Just Viking-esque style. You know, I this isn't really a playoff beard. My wife just found me in the woods, lost somewhere in outside the city, and this is how I survived. You know, what's that show, Man versus Nature? This is what I would look like if, you know, I had no access to a razor, which I do, but I just don't know how to use it.
Well, I just want to explain to all of our listeners who are listening on often, and they see comments like beard, question, beard, and you know, and they're always ripping on me for a beard, you know. So I gave you 3 weeks growth here, but I want you to know this is a special episode, season 3, episode 20. This will be coming off tonight. I did this just for the show, so anytime these guys ask me where's the beard, I can say, go back to episode 20 and watch that darn thing. Now, let me tell you, go ahead.
I don't want to be a stickler. You know, I know how you like to tell me I know nothing about hockey. Well, I don't think you know a lot about beards because that's more of a goatee than a beard. So just, you know, semantics. Maybe I'm an old school kind of beard thinker. You know, this is what it is. And who knows if we get a random like invite to like sponsor Men's Beard, like degraying beard, you know, and that's how the show gets started and takes off. But go ahead, what were you gonna say?
Well, I just want to explain to everybody why I don't grow one of those. You know, there's a reason that guys wear beards. It's because all guys lie with beards. They're always hiding something in behind that beard. And I just want to show you on this show that I am not about to lie, unlike my co-host here, Pawel the cat Zygmunt. Well,
yeah, I make stuff up all the time.
All right, well, we better get into our episode. We got a new introduction today. We're going to be introducing you guys to today. It could be a 5-minute piece. It could be a 20-minute. We're going to play it by ear. It's called Full Rant. Every show, we're going to have a bit of a rant because we like to talk positive, but there's times that we just want to rant. We both might. One of us might, but there will be a rant.
So grab your bevies. Remember to like, share, subscribe, and tune in. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook. We love having you guys connect with us. It's been great. Evan, what are we going to rant about today?
Well, you know what? Can we hold on to the rant just so we don't jump right into that and scare everybody away? You know, everybody's tired of the negative talk. But speaking of negative talk, the All-Star game. The All-Star for the NHL. I am coming out right now. Yeah, all you guys, I am admitting my co-host was right. The All-Star is for kids. And I have grown past it. I am so sick of the All-Star game. I keep trusting in it that at least it'll be entertaining. And then I thought back. I thought, was I really a kid? The truth is, yes. But up till about 24, I'd say. And after 24, I lost interest, and I keep hoping for something. But, you know, when the breakaway contest, Zegras, how does this guy not win this contest? It is the most amazing shot for a silly, goofy trick, right? You know? But, hey, man, he scored a lacrosse goal just, a month ago here.
Because you know who won? Alex Pietrangelo, Vegas player who the house always wins, baby. You know it.
Well, look, by the way, Joe Pavelski, he knows how to play blackjack, obviously.
A lot of them do, but yeah, way to go, Joe Pawel. That was very impressive. I mean, most of them got around 21, so that was pretty solid. I caught a bit of the highlights. You know, I'm more like Peter DeBoer on the Saturday, where I was a little bit hungover because I just drank way too much on Friday, but I didn't really pay attention too much to the skills competitions till afterwards. And so, you know, the hangover's gone now, so I'm feeling better. It was entertaining. As I said, it was for kids. There were some pretty cool highlights. It's not as stylized as basketball when you watch some of the dunk competitions that they do, and it's really creative and clever what they do. But I do like what Jack Hughes did. I do like what Trevor Zegras did. You know, I'm surprised he didn't win, but whatever. It's meaningless thing. I like when the players are mic'd up. I think that is something the sport needs more, because then we get a sense of personality from some of the players, and it's cool hearing some of them just kind of talk throughout the game and what they say, and sometimes chirping each other, some of the creative, unique chirps that they have. So that's what it is. And sometimes I don't always want the best players there. I know that they have one from every team. I want the best kind of personality, like a Brad Marchand who should have been there, or Pat Maroon would have been very, very fun.
Mikko Rantanen, man. Mikko Rantanen, I'm telling you.
What's the defenseman out of Calgary that came over from Chicago? The big guy, Nikita Zadorov, right? Like he's got a mouth on him. He's got some good jokes. You know, Kucherov, of course, he was out. You know, but his feed last year after the end of the playoffs, you know, the #1 bullshit. You know, pardon my French. You know, like it's silly stuff like that, right? So, but it was entertaining. I hope people had fun. You know, it's definitely something. And now we're getting back to the second half of the season, and there's a lot of hockey left just before the end of May.
So speaking of that, because the All-Star game happened in Vegas, so Monday reports come out that Jack Eichel started his very first I'm not going to say full contact. I'm sure they took it easy on him, but the first actual practice with contact, which is a really good sign, long as there's no setbacks with everything. So if anyone's looking and anticipating the time, please remember this. It's good. I don't know how they're going to manage this, because they got to get him into the game. But technically, when he gets cleared, and they could delay that because they're going to have to get rid of some contracts. We've talked about that. So look for some movement, only because they're going to have to clear some cap space within about 2 weeks.
He's not the only one. Also, Alex Martinez on their back end. He's also been injured, and he's coming back, and I believe he's around 4 or 5 million. So you guys can correct me in the comments, but he's around there, and he's got to fit into the SAP calorie. Plus,
did you say fit into the calorie cap?
Calorie, I can't. See, this is the hangover coming up again, right? I know nothing.
He knows everything about hangovers, though.
Yes.
Anyway,
and they just signed a few players. You know, they signed Braden McNabb. You know, so how are they gonna make all this work? You know, the speculation is around Riley Smith potentially being moved. You know, Kessler being taken on, or someone's LTIR contract. You know, to make room. But we're gonna see. We'll do our best to report it as soon as it comes out.
Well, hey, let's get to our full rant. We have two things we want to do a full rant on. Why don't we start off, because we got a few clips. We got some audio clips we want you guys to listen to in just a moment here. So do you want me to run the audio clip first? Because we're going to go to the story behind the Blackhawks, or do you want to go into it from another angle?
So I just want to preface that this is the Chicago saga that continues on, and we're going to play the clip and kind of dissect what's been being said, right? But it has to do with ownership and the organization and the image, and how the NHL is kind of seeing the situation, and how this is being seen by not only the hockey world, but also the real world outside of that. So go ahead. I'll let you cue us in.
Okay, so this is Rocky Wirtz, basically at a Blackhawks town hall. He's asked by a reporter some questions dating back on the questions of how things are being handled with Kyle Beach. So it'll be a little bit quieter. It's a little bit echoey in the town hall, and then it gets a little bit more noticeable.
Of a player in that situation. So what are the Blackhawks doing? What have the Blackhawks done? What will the Blackhawks do to empower a player in a similar situation to make sure that doesn't happen again?
I'm going to answer the question. I think the report speaks for itself. The people that were involved are no longer here. We're not looking back in 2010. We're looking forward. And we're not going to talk about 2010. I know, and I'm not either. And we're not going to talk about what happened. We're moving forward. That is my answer. Now, what's your next question?
I can pick up to what we are doing today. I think
No, I don't know. That's none of your business. It's none of your business. What we're going to do today is our business. I don't think it's any of your business. Because I don't think it's any of your business. You don't work for the company. If someone in the company asks that question, we'll answer it. And
Okay, I'm going to stop it there. Go ahead, Pawel.
I mean, it's a pathetic answer. It's a bad look. You know, it's come off very poorly. You know, it's been dissected by many people. You know, they're asking a solid question, and you know, this is the first gathering that they had since the incident with Kyle Beach had emerged and the report had emerged and all this information. So this is their first open town hall, and this wasn't some secret meeting. You know, reporters were invited in to kind of ask questions. And again, nothing related to Kyle Beach. They just wanted to kind of get a sense of, given what has happened in the history, what are the steps that Chicago has taken or will take in the future to protect this. You know, Gretzky kind of weighed in on it as well on the panel that same night. And it came off as like, don't worry about it. It's done. We're sweeping it under the rug. And now we're here. Let's move on to this season and moving forward. And you know what? That's not a good look, because that showcases you how they treat their players and what they value over players' safety and health and well-being, which we talked about in a previous episode. So make sure to check that out. But what are your thoughts?
Yeah, well, so I was going to mention, so not only Gretzky, but there was actually an undisclosed agent, unless it's been disclosed. If anyone knows, you can put it in the comments section. But there was an actual agent that came out and said, what do I tell my 18-year-old clients that are getting drafted by this team? Or what do I tell my clients, you know, that are looking to make a move? Or what do we say to our clients that the Blackhawks are inquiring about bringing in? Because does a parent want to have their kid go to an organization that can't even own up? And I'm going to say that I am one of those people that felt like everyone was really hard on the Blackhawks and that they were working their process behind the doors. Well, this obviously shows me they don't want no one to see behind the doors. Like, this was absolutely ridiculous. There's more claims that have come out now, more information. Do you want to hit on that a little bit too?
Yeah, so there was another allegation that came out. Let me just get that article here because I had it. But
I think it's because you have the Black Aces 1 and 2.
Yes. So the AHL athletic trainer has been let go or fired for sexual harassment for their minor league team, right? For the Rockford Ice Dogs, right? Now, the Athletic did some really good reporting on this. And essentially, it came out that in 2014, there was a report, you know, that they found and mishandled allegations that an assistant coach sexually harassed someone else. And finally they let this guy go. But, you know, the only reason this came out is because of Kyle Beach's story, which is good in some sense in that the individual, the client that, you know, came forward was able to say, I feel comfortable enough to bring this to their attention.
Yeah.
But again, after everything that happened, this is just a bad look and it's a scar. And how do you believe this organization moving forward in terms of assisting and helping people dealing with any kind of mental health and issues, and any kind of survivor of sexual assault, right? This is kind of a big sting. And, you know, there's been other things that have happened. You know, I don't know if you recall, and, you know, we'll talk about Arizona in a bit, but they tampered a little bit with their prospects and they lost draft picks because of it.
Yeah.
Nothing was done here after Gary Bettman had his presser at the All-Star game on Friday and said, things are being dealt with, you were handling it, and there's going to be no further disciplinary punishment. Now, Rocky Wirtz does sit on a lot of committees. He has a lot of influence. He did apologize, albeit, half-heartedly and, just kind of as a, I'm being honest. Like, I don't think he really meant it. I think he honestly just wants this to go away, as is the NHL, because it's a black mark on the NHL. But this isn't going away. There's going to be more and more people coming forward with other issues. And if you think that they could just sweep this under the rug, they've got another thing coming.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what? Why don't we go ahead? Because I take issue with Bettman right now. When this was all brought in, we're talking, this is full rant session. Who knows how long this is going to take? But Bettman, I mean, we all take issue with Bettman. Boo, boo, we have fun with this and stuff. And I know he's a lawyer. And I'm going to say this before he shares, and I'm going to let you guys listen to the clip, the audio clip of this part sharing. Let's remember who his bosses are. They are the owners of the NHL franchises. Yeah. Rocky is one of his employers. So he is representing him. And they made it sound like the commissioner, and I hate some of the media putting it this way. They're saying the commissioner can't be moving out guys or telling them they got to sell. Well, guys, let's just go into the NBA. I know it was a different circumstance, but this circumstance is so messy. The issue was a lot on racism when it came to the Los Angeles Clippers owner. He was forced to sell, and it was the commissioner. Now, if a commissioner has power like that, I was shocked they could make him do that. And we're talking now, and they're like, well, it was just a moment, and he's getting angry, and it was a communication. Like, screw you. Listen to what he says. I want to talk about this just for a quick sec here. So let's listen to what he says in this one piece. I have a struggle with this. Listen.
Two questions, if I may. Can you tell me or tell us what the reaction from the league was to Rocky Wirtz's discussion during their town hall meeting the other night, and further what dialogue there might have been from the league with Rocky and the Blackhawks organization?
I think in the way I think it's been characterized is it was an outburst, and I think what has happened.
So he says it was an outburst. It was characterized. Oh, okay. Wonder what happens when I have an outburst at work. Okay, but anyway.
With that franchise because of Kyle Beach.
Do you hear that? It was an outburst with this franchise because of Kyle Beach.
Victim blaming.
Oh my goodness. The moment I heard that, I was like, Bettman, I mean, who is going to call him out on this? Not like this needs to go, like the media needs to take this. You don't say because of Kyle Beach. I hope Theron Fleury, Sheldon Kennedy, some of those guys, I don't know if you ever really do listen to us, but if you do, please, you guys get out there with your tweets, send stuff to these guys who represent people who have gone through abuse in hockey. Bettman needs to answer. You don't say because, even if it was a bad play on words and he didn't mean that, he needs to get back on and apologize for that.
Or because of the Kyle Beach incident.
Yeah, but because of, is that why? It's because of? No.
Which is funny to note because they also brought in Sheldon Kennedy to be a liaison and representative for dealing with this and developing a program and or a service in the NHL to help report, understand, navigate through, and offer services throughout the league. And hopefully that would trickle down into other leagues like the AHL and some of the Canadian leagues in order to know how to respond and recognize abuse, recognize discomfort, allow people to confide in, and that the proper steps and channels are followed. But go ahead.
So here's something interesting. This is what we all know they're in a search for a general manager. There's been a lot of different guys that are starting to get interviewed. They've been open. The most notable of recognition, of course, is Peter Chiarelli, formerly of the Edmonton Oilers and the Boston Bruins. Now, I actually do believe this is a strong candidate for them. I'll tell you why. Because they can put Peter Chiarelli and throw him to the wolves. He has nothing to do with the past. He has everything to do with the future. He's gone through a lot, and Peter needs to rebuild his name in hockey. So I can see him being the next guy coming in, but he will also not be a long-term guy. I think he's only got 3 years, 4 years maybe, and then they'll cast him and then hopefully be ready for a rebuild because they're 3-4 years away.
Yeah, well, they were looking at Kyle Davidson as their prime candidate. He was young, he was new, he was energetic. You know, he was going to bring some fresh ideas to the thing, and you know, they really looked at it. But I think they want someone more stable and someone with a bit more of a reputation. Say what you want about Chiarelli's time in Edmonton. He did win a Stanley Cup with Boston in 2011. You know, that is something that very few, GMs have the luxury of saying that they've done. And, you know, he has done some other things for the AHL, and he did work under Doug Armstrong out in St. Louis. So, you know, he is still working. It's just, and he's a lawyer, you know, by trade, so he knows the lingo like Bettman. So, you know, they would want somebody who's kind of a veteran of the game, like behind the scenes, to maybe potentially be there. But I just think this whole thing has been kiboshed. Yeah. I think ever since the start of last year and everything that has happened, I think, you know, say what you want about the COVID Cup, as people like to say, quote unquote, and I'm sure Sean Fiery would disagree that there's a asterisk next to Tampa Bay Stanley Cup. But I honestly think now there's a bit of an asterisk next to the 2010, if not 2013 or 15 Stanley Cup run for the Chicago Blackhawks. And I have a hard time believing that no one knew anything about that time. And I mean, I know Taves and Kane have had great careers. Duncan Keith's still playing. But, you know, when you're bringing in Patrick Sharp, and I believe it was Marian Hossa to oversee the process, you know, it's not the best. Now, Eddie Olczyk is a fan favorite there, and people do like him. You know, he's a bit of a local celebrity. So I could see him, you know, steering the ship a bit. But if you're trying to get away from 2010 and not talk about it, why would you bring in guys that brought you that championship back then?
Well, and you know what? If Wirtz would have just went to town hall and just said, there's a lot that we can't really discuss in this meeting here today because we got more things that are happening, but we are working hard to, you know, be transparent and keep up with you. We will release statements to you as they come. You know what? He should have been prepared. He knew this was coming. That's just ridiculous.
I'm sorry. If you're the CEO of a conglomerate company that big and one of the most successful and richest organizations and one of the original 6, you should know what to prepare for in that meeting. The fact that you don't, that's poor leadership. And we've talked about leadership on this show. We know that you need to be smart when you're a leader. You don't get to that level without knowing things, like being intelligent, right? Being able to read the room. He could have said so many things. He could have let his son take over and speak for him, or one of the other panel members. He decided to take it on himself and make a statement and stomp his feet. And so I'm disappointed, and I've lost any kind of respect for that organization. And I'm sorry, it's going to be hard to rebuild. It's like trust.
I really feel for the Blackhawks fans. It's a dark day. It's a really dark day. Yeah. Speaking of dark days, it looks like there's some light, as we talked about the other week, in Arizona, home of Sean Fiery. By the way, episode 19, we had a super fan on that travels around the league to other arenas. Make sure you catch Sean Fiery. This guy is fired up. He's from Arizona, and we didn't get a chance to actually chat with him a little bit about this. But this works out really good because Pawel's quite upset. He wants to call away at a few things that are bothering him right now.
Oh, okay. So this is where I like to rant about this whole situation. So as it's noted, you know, the Glendale Arena is no longer accessible thus far. I mean, things could change and I could be completely wrong, to the Arizona Coyotes for playing next year. So what they had done is propose the new arena in Tempe with jobs, with infrastructure, all that, to present to city council. Now, as we reported, you know, the city councilmen that were voting on it, there was a bit of a mixed bag, and it hasn't been finalized. I think there was 3 for, 2 against, and 1 kind of uncertain. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong, asking Evan. And, you know, so even if they got the approval, even as of this week, end of this week, let's say by this Saturday, it's still going to be at least 2 to 3 years minimum before they build that arena and get it played. So in the interim, you got to play somewhere. So the secondary proposal that was proposed is that the Arizona Coyotes will be playing at ASU, Arizona State University, right? The problem is that arena is not that big. It would need a big major upgrade, which would be in the millions, I believe around $165 to $180 million is what they're estimating for repairs and upgrades to make it an NHL arena, but it would reduce the capacity from what it is to about 5,000 seats proper, NHL style seats. And even in that situation, it'd be a little bit less in terms of revenue. I think Brad Marchand had a great tweet where, he talked about, oh good, well, they can give away 4,500 tickets and maybe they'll sell out. So, they have to, and this isn't done deal, right? So this is in the process of being approved. So it could be approved for using the ASU, because also noting, because this is a very convoluted story, the Phoenix Suns, the basketball team there, do not want to share their arena with the Arizona Coyotes, with the NHL. And we know that there's about, I believe, 9, 10, or if not up to 11 arenas in the NHL and that share an arena with NBA teams, right? So predominantly in the States, of course, Toronto being the only Canadian one. So my gripe and my beef with this is that you are telling me that Gary Bettman is okay with the 5,000 home arena, especially for somebody like Shane Wright, who's making his debut, which is smaller numbers than most OHL, NCHL ranks, right? This number one star draft pick that you're going to try to promote in your league to promote the next wave of, elite star talent. And he's going to play in front of 5,000 players, but they're not even going to be able to start, even if they get the agreement in for the first 15 to 20 games, because they won't be done till at least late November, early December. So similar to what we saw with the Islanders this year, and did they play in their arena? No, it took a while. And you're telling me that there's not going to be a revenue deficit, as he indicated in the All-Star game? That is garbage. But then he has a complaint about how they have to move games from Canada because we can't get enough players here because of the Canadian government with the restrictions. So that's my gripe with this whole situation. In my mind, and it doesn't have to be Quebec. Move them to Kansas City. Move them to Houston. Stop with this experiment. This is, like Rocky Words, Gary Bettman sticking his fingers in his ears and stomping on the ground and pretending that he knows better than everyone else, when in reality, it didn't work.
You know what I find really interesting, though, why the owners are okay with this? Because right now the reports that Craig Morgan's bringing out of Arizona is that and they've given them to the Athletic. So the Athletic has been made very aware. By the way, great subscription for those of you that aren't familiar with the Athletic. But executives around the NHL are quite concerned. Executives. Yeah. There are owners about it. They're not as vocal as some others. Since it was revealed about this plan, by the way, it's 15 to 20 million is the cost to upgrade. But anyway,
I'm talking about the total cost of the whole thing.
Oh yeah, no, the total cost to approve the seating and the changes is 15 to 20 million within that small stadium. But just so everyone knows, it's like 1.9 billion or 1.7 billion dollars. Their new project, which is about going to be 4 years away. So 4 years in a 5,000 seat venue, as opposed to the smallest in Winnipeg, which was a big deal to even move there, at 15,500, which sell out all the time. Even at they could sell out at 20,000 in Winnipeg, even though that they have less than a million. They're around 800,000, 850 for attendance. You may have a lot of people in that area of Phoenix and the greater area, but they're not filling that place. Yeah, it's working for hockey, but there must be some execs that are allowing this to happen. There's no way Gary can allow this to happen, because what people are worried about right now for some of these executives is, I mean, number one, it's embarrassing on the league to have a minor league, like you mentioned. And then the other thing is you're not maximizing revenue. Most of your money is made up. So all these other franchises, so, most of the Canadian teams will say, outside of Ottawa, and groups like New York Rangers, the Flyers, and other groups, they are paying for the difference, and this is going to also affect the players with escrow.
Yes.
So it just like, it's a nightmare all the way around, and they really got to do something about this. I don't understand how Gary can have this much pull and why there's not somebody fighting back against this.
So I think there is, a stink being made about it. According to Gary Bettman, and again, he's going to say what he needs to as a lawyer. At the press conference on Friday, he said there's not going to be any revenue deficit because of this. So, yeah, he admitted that. He said that because of this arena, that also includes the fact that you're trying to motivate fans to even come to the games, let alone that you're not even going to start the season in your own home barn, which is a big thing. I honestly think this is him being stubborn and wanting to continue to expand in the States, which is fine. It's just not Arizona. And I don't want to take away with some of the, people who are big Arizona Coyotes fans and, that they cheer on their team and they're excited to see what happens in the next 4 or 5 years. And, some people talking about potentially, and again, don't at me, Toronto fans, of Matthews going home because he loves playing at home. He, trains in the off season there and he loves being there. McDavid even went down there to practice with him. But at the end of the day, do you really want this to be your legacy? The Atlanta Thrashers, when they moved, it was last resort, but it just wasn't working. And that's okay. Sometimes markets don't take that on, and not every American city is going to be a hockey town. But you should move it somewhere where there is opportunity. And we've talked about other arenas that you can go to. Kansas City, Houston, Quebec City, I don't understand why this push. And again, imagine you're Shane Wright right now, right? And I know Montreal's at the bottom of the standings.
I was going to say, you're making Coyote fans excited about Shane Wright, and it's not happened yet.
Yeah, but I'm saying, let's say one of those top prospects, in the top 3 go to Arizona. Right? They've got, I believe, 2 in the first round, 5 in the second round. So they're going to clean up, right? Yeah. And it's a solid draft this year, which we're going to be talking about later on in the year. Are you telling me those stars that they want to go and play, they're going to play in front of 5,000 fans, if that?
Not me, man. Like, what are you going to do? Pump in music, pump in crowd music. We're going to go COVID for 4 more years in Arizona.
I'm going to make a joke. Are we going to sit, what's it called? Are there going to be seating arrangements in the locker room so that's extra seat?
I like to understand how he thinks it's not going to be a deficit in the NHL unless they're not eligible for any of the cash flow of bringing in less. They'd have to remove them and treat it as a 31-team league in order for that to happen, which I can't see the other teams agreeing to that. I can't see the Coyotes because they're going to need – how do you support a team? And by the way, where's the money coming for $1.7 billion? This is not about an arena because they're going to have a lot of competition, right, with already downtown Phoenix and over still at in Glendale there with the old arena when it comes to entertainment of other sorts besides hockey. This is really about land, and this is about property management and stuff like that. Much like Kate's kind of worked with the downtown arena. He has that, but it's all the other growth as new skyscrapers go up and stuff. It's got to be. There's no other reason why they think that this would make sense.
I don't know. I think it's just kind of a spit in the face of what an NHL team is supposed to be, and that we keep getting told differently. If Gary Bettman believes it, all the power to him, but I know that there's grumblings, and I wouldn't be surprised. I know he talked about being there for a long time. I wouldn't be surprised if this is the nail to the coffin, not the Chicago thing. As difficult as it is to hear, I could see this being because money speaks in the NHL. And now think about, their new deal with TNT and ESPN. It's gotten off to I don't want to say the best start, like a rocky start. It's finding its legs. There's definitely room for growth, of course, with anything new. Like us, we didn't know shit all
Okay, so well, speak for yourself. My co-host who knows absolutely nothing about hockey and just he lies his way through. That's why he carries a beard, so he can hide all the lies behind his beard. And he pulls out his notes from his beard every once in a while to kind of say, "Hey, what did that guy say? I gotta read it on air here." So, hey, this is what I have to say about Arizona. That's about it, man. Okay. You know what? You just brought up a whole new thing. I want to rant about a couple more things. Welcome
If
to
you're ranting, I'm drinking.
so you just brought it up. You're talking about TNT. We're talking about ESPN. We're talking about coverage of hockey. Now, I know there are a lot of people. Last week, I was checking our numbers and looking back. We have a lot of you Americans that are catching our show. A lot of people, by the way, out of Arizona. So I do want to apologize. We have nothing against the people of Arizona. We have it against the ownership who has screwed the people rule. I mean, they should never have left downtown Phoenix. That's the bottom line what I get from a lot of people from there. So anyway, the franchise, love them, but sometimes you got to be able to support them. But
the best jersey I think out there with the Chaika Fox, like I think it's one of the best jerseys. I love it.
Yeah, it stands right up there with the Hartford Whalers, man.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean the teams always succeed, but definitely good jerseys. Okay, so I've been hearing from Americans consistently. Canadians at least have their Sportsnet, right, to work with. They have across Canada, they got different packages. By the way, very expensive in Canada if you want to get your cable and all the other stuff. Yeah. There are good deals in the States. You guys are finding some. I am seeing in face group pages and in different message boards everywhere. I see it on Instagram. I see it all over Twitter. You guys are confused. Where do you go to see a game that's not blacked out? How do you see your team in your local area? It seems that you see it here, now you see it over here, now it's over here. You don't know where to follow it. I feel for you Americans. And then those of you, and we have a lot of you that follow over in parts of Europe, so whether you're in Czechoslovakia, Slovenia, and by the way, I just want to thank we got some folks that have been following us over in Pakistan and also over in Israel. Hey guys, I'm guessing you're Canadians that have moved abroad, but hey, welcome on board. But you guys are all dealing with the same issue when you're trying to pull stuff up, and people are looking for other alternatives, which means they are going on and looking for freebies. And I'm going to tell you, if ESPN did their job right and TNT, I think you guys talked about some of the subsidiaries, Bally's or something like that. There's a couple other groups that are doing this stuff. I mean, what kind of contract did they sign and how did they set something up where you pay for it if you're in Seattle, but you don't get your local team?
Yeah. I think it's ridiculous. Like, how can you not air the team that you're watching, right? And sometimes you want to get a different feed, right? I can understand if there's an incident. You know, there was the recent game, I believe it was the Rangers and Edmonton, and there was a COVID breakout for the Edmonton broadcasting team. So unfortunately, the only broadcast available for that game was the Rangers feed, which is okay, you know, and they apologized. And it happens, right? I mean, you know, they were able to offer it as a secondary option. But if you're not able to watch the games, how are you promoting the games? And why are you blacking out the games, right? I know a few of the Seattle games at the beginning of the season were blacked out for me. I was trying to watch, you know, this inaugural team. It's a great new team put together. How are they going to do? Are they going to be Vegas? What kind of impact are they going to make? Who's going to be a big star for that team? Blackout.
Yeah.
Why can't I watch Seattle play? I don't understand.
Yeah. Hey, I do want to, give kudos, man, to the franchise. Seattle has done fabulous. The fans are incredible. Yeah. The fans, all they want to do is learn more about hockey. Those that don't know it, they're totally humble, and they are paying a fortune at those games by the looks of it. You think that Seattle was Toronto or New York trying to get tickets. It's tough, but good on them, because if you guys stick it out for a few years here, you're going to be reaping some rewards when Francis can bring that thing together.
I was wondering if Sean is going to invite us to go to Seattle with him for one of those games when they play Tampa Bay.
Woo! Yeah, especially when they have a better chance of winning, right?
Yeah.
Okay, something else I got to talk about. This is going to be very controversial. Some of you guys are not going to agree with my opinion whatsoever. Frankly, my dear, I don't give a darn. I'm just kind of going PG for you there. Okay, let's talk about the Olympic hockey and what just happened with the women's. I know some of you are like all impressed with wearing masks under these cages that they're already wearing. No. That was ridiculous. You don't make a player wear masks, and I don't care why they did it to get out and play. The Canadians, they made a big deal. Oh, well, they played the whole third period. The Russians took it off because they knew they were all negative for their tests. The Canadians kept through it. Well, of course they did. They're the better team. And they didn't want to have a chance to, and I get it. I get the team. If I was a team, I probably would have worn them too. But it's ridiculous because of the rules in China. That's the problem. The rules over there, that the team was put in a position like this. It's the most embarrassing thing to watch a game. They're going to go back and look, and it's going to be, and they're going to call that the COVID Olympics because they're going to be talking about a hockey team that won with masks on. They're not goalies. They're forwards. Come on.
My only, so I've seen a few things about that, and I understand that, you know, both teams, specifically the Canadian team, agreed and warranted to wear the mask while playing. So it was their decision, you know, and with the N95 masks, they're the better ones out of all of them. It wasn't a cloth mask. It wasn't one of those cheap ones you get, you know, as a one-time use.
Yeah.
So, you know, you could still breathe, and, you know, clearly an athlete at that peak and physical condition can breathe through that mask and still perform. And, you know, I was more worried about some of those that had visor stuff, that it wouldn't fog up. I know that you can wear it properly, but sometimes with a little bit of a hole, depending on, you know, the structure of your face, a little bit of nose, you know how it is when you're wearing glasses and stuff, you can fog up.
Yeah.
I think the thing we need to think about is, does this apply to all the other winter sports that are happening there? Now, not all sports are contact sports. Some are individual, whether it's skiing, you know, downhill, snowboarding, tricks, whatever it may be. But will it be applied in curling there, right? Will it be applied in speed figure skating, right? Like that, or speed skating, right? Like, are you applying that same logic to every little thing, right? We know we talked about the quarantine thing, and it's tough, but it seems like an unnecessary step when they could delay the game for another day. I understand they don't want to.
Yeah.
Definitely an interesting choice and food for thought. Is it going to be the reality? I hope not, but at the end of the day, if the players chose to wear a mask, that is their choice. I know it doesn't look the best, you know, because here's one of the things. You want to see how people express their face and how excited they are when they score a goal or make a save, or the intensity of their face, you know. But I understand that if they wanted to feel safe, and this was the best thing to do. Now, granted, what was the ventilation like in that system, right? Because I know that when you're outdoors with COVID, it's much better. But even indoors, you know, we've seen the NHL, and people are still getting outbreaks. But is it because they're on the ice, or is it happening off the ice behind closed doors?
So I guess that's my take. So I just so everyone understands, kudos to the two teams, especially to the Canadians, in working through it. I get why they did it. They went a long ways to play this game. They don't want to be catching anything. They'll do everything they can. And to be able to use, because the N90, it's the KN95s. So you know what I call the KN95s, the knockoff N95s, for K for knockoff. But those are much very, very much safer, but they are difficult to breathe when you have a lot. I've done training and teaching in those things, and you get aired. So good on them. Get why they did it, man. All I'm thinking about is, next I'm gonna watch and I know it's winter, so don't go tell me they don't do judo. But imagine two guys or two women in judo, right? You know, and they put their KN95s. They're like, okay, let's wrestle. It's just like I can't think of the more contact in the winter stuff, but
I'm just thinking of like a UFC fight with the boxers ready to go, like the martial artists, and they've got a mask on.
we got to get back to a place, to bring some normalcy. This is going to be a part of our future in some manner or some form, and I really hope that this is showing you it's just not in the nation where we live in Canada or where the NHL is in North America or hockey in Europe and other places, guys, but this is around the world, and the world has to adjust, not just your country, so, but anyway, it just really wrecked it for me. I was just like, forget it. I'm done. My hat's off to them, but I don't want to watch a bunch of people and I can't even see them. I can't see the smiles. I can't see nothing. I see hugs. That's all I got, At least they should have smacked each other's behind, or something.
This means you have a chance to actually play, maybe for the men's team. You get out there, you put on a mask, nobody will know who you are. You're like, this looks like our goalie. Sure.
Okay, so before we wrap up this part, hey, got a quick question. And I'm going to show you guys something here on my interest. Has the Canadian men's team played yet a game?
I believe that they have not. I believe they're coming up to play.
Okay, the fact that we're two guys in Hockey Talk, we talk all things hockey, and we're not even interested if they played until we hear from someone. I know it's late. This is a point, though, I'm making. Yeah. This is what the NHL has done by pulling away has really pulled, and I hope the IOC catches this, the importance of having the best on best. Hockey is huge around lots of parts of the world, in those hockey nations, even for the ones that don't have as much hockey, to follow, to see the most skilled talent everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, but at the same time, one of the biggest complaints I have, and it's not really a complaint, it's more of a nuisance, is the timing, China being, 9-10 hours ahead or something. Like it's tough to wake up at 4, 5, 6, 7 in the morning and be, well, not 7, but 4, 5, 6 and watch a game early on, right? Unless, you have early shifts and you're able to do that, right? I know a lot of those games are happening in the mornings. Yeah, I know they're going to repeat them in the afternoon, but
I'm PVRing those late night games and waking up early so that I can watch Austin Matthews head on with Connor McDavid, with McKinnon on his side and Huberdeau, watching Kachuk go, the Kachucks going. Do you know what I mean? I mean that the excitement when you have great talent you want to watch. Yeah. And as it gets further into the Olympics, I haven't watched a single moment, and I feel bad. It's the first time that I remember since I was a kid, I haven't watched a single moment at the beginning of the Olympics. And I got to be honest, I think it's because it's in China, but that's a whole other story.
I believe Canada has their first gold medal in snowboarding. I don't know the exact competition, but the candidate, and I'll have to look it up and you guys can correct me. I think his name is Max something. He went from cancer treatment to gold medal, so that's a pretty humble, amazing story. And he's won Canada's first gold, so that's pretty cool.
Hey, that's awesome. Hey, before we get ready to wrap up, speaking of the whole piece, now, I stand by my words. Not every play, of course, the NHL didn't go, but I did mention I believe that the KHL would shut down so that they could send players, and they did. Now, we posted it on our page. Now, we've talked about it. So you're one of the ones that posted, you and Patrick, a little bit in there. Give all the people that have not been to our Facebook page, by the way, like, follow, also share. Sharing is very important to get a bigger word out. And you can also subscribe to us on YouTube. So, but catch our everyday content. We release a lot of the newest and exciting news that's happening around the hockey world.
I'm just going to correct myself. So it's Max Parrott who won it, and it was in snowboard slope style. So that was the rest. I know it was snowboarding. I saw the highlight, and that was it. So good for Max Parrott for overcoming cancer and winning his first Canadian gold medal. Now, it looks like the KHL is pausing/ending its season, and Patrick Conroy has been really good about reporting this and getting this information on our page. If you want to follow him on Twitter, he's a great follow. He's got a lot of insight into the KHL. We've had him on the show. Go check out the episode. Apparently they're pausing it, and there's rumbling that it's because of a geopolitical issue that's happening, between Ukraine and Russia. Now, we're not going to get into the politics here. If you want politics, follow Aaron Singleton. He knows everything and everything. I'm surprised he's not the president of the UN, but, we can ask him why. But it seems like they're canceling and going straight into the playoffs, if I recall. And it's definitely an abrasive move, given that it's a shortened season. I mean, who knows how much sponsorship, energy, time was spent into it, what that's going to do for the league, for the players, for development. I mean, Evan, where do you go from here? It's just this isn't a COVID-related thing. This is something that they can continue to play through, but...
So interesting, though, the KHL cited the coronavirus concerns stemming from players at the Olympics for prematurely cutting the season short and beginning their playoffs. So they'll be starting March 1st after the week-long break. But it's contingent. It was supposed to be, I don't know, and maybe Patrick can verify if it was fully put through by the board of directors in the Russian Hockey Federation. But yeah, very unfortunate, right?
Maybe Putin wants to be draft number 1 again.
Well, it's interesting because the KHL makes up for the Russian team 40% of the roster, right? And by the way, I don't know if everyone knows who the KHL president is. It's Alexei Morozov, a former NHL player. You got to go look it up. Very interesting, though. But they talk about the risk of infection and all this stuff. But like you've just heard, it's probably not that. So yeah. We'll see. We'll see.
Well, it's interesting that you said that, because, and Patrick can correct us as well as you guys, is that when COVID first hit, the KHL did break, but then they got back quicker than the NHL, and they went through it. They didn't care what was happening. So it's hard to believe that COVID is the primary reason. But what do I know? I'm just one guy, no hockey talk.
Well, buddy, we better wrap up our show. Looks like we're kind of hitting only a few minutes overtime today. Any final thoughts?
No, I mean, thank you for tuning in again. Thanks for letting us rant. Hopefully it's a segment that we can continue on in the future. Make sure to follow, like, subscribe, check out our other episodes. Leave us a comment, suggestion. We've got some really amazing things in the works, some big things, some small things. We're looking forward to some upcoming guests. We've got a busy schedule coming up with the latter half of the season. And then, of course, playoffs, which we're excited. We're going to try to do maybe a little draw again. And then, of course, back to the summer where we have a draft where, we've crowned a new Stanley Cup champion for the new decade, and who will that be? And we'll see what transpires in the NHL. There's a lot of storylines. So make sure you guys tune in every single Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Evan, what about you?
Well, I'm just going to say, just as a final thought for everyone, that when we do our end-of-season draft, I'd like to propose, we talked about a live draft to bring you guys in that we can offer. But I have one condition. If we're going to do this for all the fine hockey folk out there and they want to come in, I want to see them come in on video with us so we can meet them. But I want to have a minimum number. I'm not going to give you that number. We're going to be setting it out in a couple months, so we're going to set that up. Just 2 people. No, we want to have about 15, 20 people register, sign up. It'll be free. But I want to make sure that you guys, if you're really interested, we just don't want to hear from you. We want to actually see you. And if you guys want to do that, man, we'll set it up. I'll make my whole basement just like the draft party that ain't happening in Montreal because Bettman said so.
Well, it's going to be moved. Yeah, I know. It's kind of disappointing. Okay, so if we invite our wives, that's 4, right? Is that enough?
We only need 16 more, man. 16 more. I must say, I got a lot of grandkids.
Well, that's good. That's good.
All right. Well, in the meantime and in between time,
keep your stick on the ice.
Hey, guys, have a great one from 2 Guys in Hockey Talk.
Stay safe.